Keita told the council that they were witnessing one of the most severe humanitarian crises of our time in eastern DRC, pointing to escalating violence that continues to trigger massive displacement, some 7.3 million at last count, the vast majority in the east of the country where sexual violence is rampant.
I am extremely concerned about the rapid expansion of the movement du 23 Mars M23 in North Kivu and the spillover in South Kivu, despite numerous operations conducted by the FRDC, regularly supported by MONUSCO and SAMI-DRC. During their latest military offensive, the M23 and its backers burned several FRDC bases and triggered additional population displacement, further exacerbating an already catastrophic humanitarian and human rights situation. As documented by the group of experts, which reports to the Sanction Committee established by this Council, the government of Rwanda has reinforced its support to the M23, enabling it to make major territorial gains across eastern DRC. The rapidly escalating M23 crisis carries the risk, the very real risk of provoking a wider regional conflict.
South African soldiers deployed as part of SAMI-DRC were ambushed earlier this month in Sake, North Kivu, by M23 rebels. They killed 2 SANDF soldiers while injuring more than 20.
Exprimer mes profondes condoléances à l'Afrique du Sud.
I would like to express my deepest condolences to South Africa, which lost 2 soldiers on the 25th of June during a mortar attack of the M23 against its base in Sake. I also hope for a prompt recovery to the wounded.
The United States raising questions about MONUSCO's support to the SADC forces operating in the east.
The United States recognizes the role and sacrifices of SAMI-DRC in supporting the DRC government's efforts to defend its territorial integrity. The primary goal of the United States in eastern DRC is to support a de-escalation of the conflict and put an end to the instability and human suffering the conflict has caused. That is why we believe this Council should guard against steps that could further inflame regional tensions, including extending significant MONUSCO support to SAMI-DRC. We are concerned extensive MONUSCO support to SAMI-DRC may not reflect our shared interest in securing a political solution to the conflict. This is why we support the Council's authorizing only limited MONUSCO support to SADC's mission within its area of deployment, in furtherance of its mandate, without prejudice to its tasks, and within existing resources.
With calls on both Rwanda and the DRC to urgently take steps to de-escalate the situation, with Kinshasa's envoy calling for sanctions to be imposed on its neighbor.
Que la cessation des hostilités.
The much-desired cessation of hostility and de-escalation will not be possible as long as Rwanda and its M23 allies continue to fan the flames of the conflict, and as long as Rwandan leaders fail to respect their commitments under the Luanda process. The Democratic Republic of the Congo will defend its territorial integrity, its sovereignty, and the security of its people at all costs, while remaining open to a political settlement of the conflict with Rwanda through diplomatic channels. However, that path will only be credible if Rwandan troops effectively withdraw from Congolese territory in order to allow for frank and constructive dialogue.
The lack of political will.
Rwanda's envoy accusing SAMI-DRC, a force operating at the invitation of the DRC government, of not being neutral in the conflict, accusing it of fighting alongside the DRC's national army that fights alongside the Hutu rebel group, the FDLR, that has attacked Tutsis in both countries.
In an effort to secure a more offensive force, the DRC government called upon SADC countries to intervene. In light of this, it is easy to agree that SAMI-DRC is far from being neutral. In fact, it has even coalesced with ethnically charged illegal armed groups like the FDLR, acting under the guise of FARDC. It is well known that FARDC operates and is embedded with FDLR and provides military, financial, and other support. This support to the FDR poses a great threat to Rwanda's security, sovereignty, and territorial integrity. FDR is a threat to Rwanda and the Great Lakes region at large in its renewed capacity to cause harm.
The UN further expressing a desire that a 2-week truce agreed by the parties on July 4th, including both the DRC and Rwanda, be extended beyond its July 19th conclusion. Chauvin Briceby's SABC News, New York.